before smartphones, before streaming services, and before social media took over our lives. There was one movie that turned an ordinary Christmas into an unforgettable adventure that in 1990. Home Alone arrived in theaters and became an instant phenomenon. What seemed like a simple story about a boy accidentally left behind by his family quickly captured the hearts of millions around the world. Children dreamed of having Kevin's freedom. Parents laughed at the chaos, and audiences couldn't get enough of the hilarious battle between one clever kid and two unlucky burglars. More than 35 years later, Home Alone remains one of the most beloved family movies ever made. But what happened to the cast? Some became major Hollywood stars, some stepped away from the spotlight, and some experienced incredible life journeys that fans never saw coming. Today we're taking a closer look at the Home Alone cast then and now in 2026. Let's begin with the face of the franchise himself.
When Home Alone premiered in 1990, Macaulay Culkin was only 10 years old. Yet somehow, he managed to carry an entire Hollywood blockbuster on his shoulders. That's something even many adult actors struggle to do. But Macaulay wasn't an ordinary child actor. Born in New York City on August 26, 1980, Macaulay grew up in a large family with 6 siblings. His father, Kit Culkin, had experience in theater, and from a very young age, Macaulay was introduced to performing. Unlike many children who dream of becoming actors, Macaulay entered the entertainment industry before fully understanding how much his life would change. He started appearing in stage productions, commercials, and small television roles. Casting directors quickly noticed something special. There was a naturalness about him. He wasn't trying to act. He simply seemed comfortable being himself. By the late 1980s, Hollywood producers were already paying attention. Then came Home Alone. Director Chris Columbus immediately recognized that Macaulay possessed a rare quality. Audiences genuinely liked him. Not because he was cute, not because he was funny, but because he felt real. Kevin McCallister wasn't a superhero. He wasn't a genius. He was simply a kid trying to survive an impossible situation. And Macaulay made every moment believable. The movie exploded beyond anyone's expectations. Home Alone became the highest-grossing comedy film of its era and transformed Macaulay into the biggest child star on the planet. Almost overnight, his face appeared everywhere. Television interviews, magazine covers, talk shows, toy advertisements, movie posters. Children wanted his hairstyle, parents knew his name, and studios desperately wanted to cast him. His success continued with Home Alone 2 and several other major films. For a period during the early 1990s, Macaulay became one of the highest-paid child actors in entertainment history. But fame comes with a price. While millions of fans saw a smiling young star, life behind the scenes was becoming increasingly complicated. Family conflicts, enormous media attention, and the pressures of growing up in front of the entire world began taking a toll. Unlike most children, Macaulay never experienced a normal childhood. Every decision he made became a headline. Every appearance became news. As he entered his teenage years, he gradually stepped away from acting. Many people assumed his career was over, but Macaulay had something many former child stars never find: perspective. Instead of desperately trying to remain famous, he chose to live life on his own terms. Years later, fans were surprised to see him return through comedy projects, podcasts, guest appearances, and independent productions. People discovered that the mischievous boy from Home Alone had grown into an intelligent, funny, and surprisingly self-aware adult. Today, in 2026, Macaulay Culkin remains one of the most recognizable former child actors in the world. He has built a family, embraced fatherhood, and enjoys a life far more balanced than the one he experienced as a child star. Yet, no matter what he accomplishes, one thing remains certain. To millions of fans around the globe, he will forever be Kevin McCallister. The kid who taught an entire generation that creativity, courage, and a little bit of chaos can overcome almost anything. It's almost impossible to imagine now, but before Home Alone, Joe Pesci was known for playing some of the toughest and most intimidating characters in Hollywood. He wasn't a comedy actor. He wasn't a family movie star. He was famous for intense performances that often left audiences speechless, which is exactly why casting him as Harry Lime seemed like such a strange decision. And yet it turned out to be one of the smartest casting choices in movie history. Born on February 9, 1943, in New Jersey, Joe developed a passion for entertainment at an early age. Long before acting, he was deeply involved in music. He played guitar, performed in bands, and spent years trying to establish himself in the industry. Success didn't come quickly. Like many actors, Joe faced years of rejection and uncertainty, but perseverance eventually paid off. By the 1980s, he had become one of Hollywood's most respected performers. Known for his intensity and authenticity, Joe earned praise from critics and filmmakers alike. Then came Home Alone. Instead of playing a dangerous criminal, Joe suddenly found himself portraying a burglar constantly defeated by household objects. Paint cans, hot doorknobs, broken ornaments, tar-covered stairs. Every trap Kevin created became another disaster for Harry. What made Joe's performance so effective was his commitment. He never treated the comedy as silly. He played every scene seriously, and that seriousness made everything even funnier. Audiences couldn't stop laughing. Children especially loved seeing a grown man repeatedly outsmarted by a 10-year-old boy. The chemistry between Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern became one of the movie's greatest strengths. Together, they created one of cinema's most memorable comedy duos.
Following Home Alone, Joe continued appearing in major films and received widespread recognition for his acting abilities. Unlike many celebrities, however, Joe never seemed interested in fame itself as the years passed. He gradually stepped away from the spotlight. He preferred privacy and a quieter lifestyle, time away from Hollywood. This decision only increased public fascination. Fans constantly wondered what happened to him. Today, in 2026, Joe Pesci is regarded as one of the greatest actors of his generation. His body of work continues inspiring performers around the world. Yet among younger audiences, Harry Lime remains one of his most beloved characters. Because no matter how many dramatic roles Joe played, there's something unforgettable about watching him lose a battle against Christmas decorations.
If Harry was the leader of the Wet Bandits, Marv was undoubtedly the heart of the chaos. Played by Daniel Stern, Marv became responsible for some of the funniest moments not only in Home Alone, but in comedy film history. His screams alone became legendary. Even today, fans can instantly recognize them. But Daniel Stern's journey to Hollywood success didn't happen overnight. Born in Maryland in 1957, Daniel developed an interest in acting at a young age. Unlike many performers who immediately chase fame, Daniel spent years refining his craft. He appeared in theater productions and gradually worked his way into film and television. By the time Home Alone arrived, he was already an experienced actor. What audiences loved most about Daniel was his willingness to fully commit to physical comedy. Physical comedy looks easy when done well. In reality, it's one of the most difficult forms of acting. Timing must be perfect. Reactions must feel genuine. Every movement must be carefully controlled. Daniel mastered all of it. Whether Marv was slipping on ice, stepping on ornaments, getting hit by bricks, or being attacked by Kevin's traps, Daniel delivered each moment with incredible precision. Many viewers don't realize how physically demanding those scenes actually were. Some required multiple takes. Others required careful stunt coordination. Yet Daniel always made the pain look hilariously real. His performance transformed Marv from a simple burglar into a comedy icon. Children around the world laughed at his misfortune. Parents quoted his lines, and audiences continued discussing his scenes decades later. After Home Alone, Daniel remained active in entertainment. He appeared in films, television shows, and creative projects, while also exploring directing and storytelling. Unlike some actors who become trapped by one role, Daniel successfully built a diverse career. Yet, he never distanced himself from Home Alone. In interviews, he often spoke fondly about the experience and appreciated the love fans continued showing the film. Today, in 2026, Daniel Stern remains deeply respected by audiences who grew up watching his work. For many people, Marv represents a simpler era of comedy, an era when practical effects, physical humor, and great performances created unforgettable entertainment. And perhaps that's why Home Alone continues finding new generations of fans every year, because no matter how much technology changes, watching Marv accidentally walk into Kevin McCallister's traps is still funny, still entertaining, and still absolutely timeless.
If Kevin McCallister was the heart of Home Alone, then Kate McCallister was the emotional soul of the movie. After all, beneath the comedy, the traps, and the hilarious chaos, Home Alone is really a story about a mother trying to get back to her son. And Catherine O'Hara made audiences feel every second of that journey. Born in Toronto, Canada, in 1954, Catherine grew up in a large family and developed a love for performing at an early age. long before Home Alone, she was already building an impressive reputation in comedy. Unlike many performers who relied on loud personalities, Catherine had a unique gift. She could be hilarious and heartfelt at the same time. That rare ability would eventually make her one of the most respected actresses in entertainment. When she was cast as Kate McCallister, nobody knew just how important the role would become at first glance. Kate seems like a supporting character, but the emotional weight of the entire movie rests on her shoulders. Imagine realizing you've accidentally left your child hundreds of miles away during Christmas. That fear, that panic, that guilt. Catherine captured all of it perfectly. Many viewers remember the famous scene when Kate suddenly realizes Kevin isn't with the family. Even decades later, that moment still feels authentic. Parents watching the movie immediately understand the horror she's experiencing. What makes Catherine's performance so impressive is that she never overplays the emotions. Everything feels natural, real, human. As the film became a global success, Catherine's career continued to grow. She worked in television, movies, voice acting, and comedy projects. Industry professionals admired her versatility. Audiences loved her warmth. Over time, she became one of those rare performers who could appear in almost any type of project and instantly improve it. In recent years, a whole new generation discovered Catherine through successful television shows and films. Suddenly, younger viewers who never grew up with Home Alone were becoming fans too. Today, in 2026, Catherine O'Hara remains one of the most beloved actresses in the entertainment industry. Her career has lasted decades because she possesses something that cannot be taught: authenticity. And for millions of Home Alone fans, she'll always be remembered as the determined mother who crossed airports, countries, and countless obstacles to reunite with Kevin. Sometimes the most important performances are the quietest ones. That's exactly what John Hurd brought to Home Alone. As Peter McCallister, Kevin's father, he helped create the family dynamic that made the entire story believable. Without that believable family foundation, Home Alone wouldn't work. Born in Washington, D.C., in 1946, John Hurd developed an interest in acting while studying and participating in theater productions. Unlike some actors who become famous overnight, John's success came through years of dedication and hard work. By the time Home Alone arrived, he was already a respected performer with extensive experience in both film and television. One of John's greatest strengths as an actor was subtlety. He didn't need dramatic speeches to make an impact. Instead, he brought realism to every role. As Peter McCallister, he perfectly portrayed a father trying to manage a chaotic family vacation while unknowingly leaving one child behind. Looking back, it's remarkable how realistic the McCallister family feels. Part of that realism came directly from John's performance. He felt like a real father, not a movie father, a real one. Following Home Alone's success, John continued working steadily throughout Hollywood. He appeared in numerous television dramas, films, and guest roles. Directors appreciated his professionalism, fellow actors respected his talent, and audiences consistently enjoyed seeing him on screen. Sadly, John Hurd passed away in 2017 at the age of 71. His death saddened many fans who had grown up watching his work. Today, his performances continue living on through the films and television shows he left behind. For Home Alone fans, Peter McCallister remains an essential part of one of cinema's most iconic families. Every family has that one older sibling, the one who knows exactly how to annoy you, the one who constantly teases you, the one who somehow gets away with everything. In Home Alone, that person was Buzz McCallister, and Devin Ratray played him perfectly. Born in New York City in 1977, Devin grew up around the entertainment industry and began acting at a young age. From the moment he appeared on screen, he had a natural ability to grab attention. As Buzz, he created one of the most memorable older brothers in movie history. What's interesting about Buzz is that he's not truly a villain. He's simply a typical older brother, annoying, immature, sometimes selfish, but also believable. Many viewers instantly recognize someone from their own family in Buzz. That relatability helped make the character unforgettable. Home Alone's success introduced Devin to millions of viewers around the world. Even though his role wasn't as large as Kevin's, audiences remembered him immediately. Who could forget the tarantula scene, or Buzz's constant teasing, or his famous interactions with Kevin? Following Home Alone, Devin continued acting throughout adulthood. Unlike many child actors who disappear after one successful project, he remained active in film and television. Over the years, fans often expressed surprise at how much he had changed. The mischievous teenager from Home Alone had grown into a completely different person. Yet whenever Home Alone is discussed, Buzz remains one of the first characters people remember. Today, in 2026, Devin is still recognized around the world because of the impact Home Alone had on popular culture. And honestly, no Home Alone reunion would feel complete without him. Back in 1990, almost nobody could have predicted that one of Home Alone's smallest roles would eventually belong to one of Hollywood's biggest future stars. Kieran Culkin may not have had much screen time as Fuller McCallister, but audiences definitely remembered him, especially the famous jokes about Pepsi and bedwetting. Born in 1982, Kieran grew up alongside his brother Macaulay in a family heavily involved in acting. While Macaulay became one of the biggest child stars in history, Kieran's path looked very different. His success came gradually, steadily. Over time. As Fuller, Kieran demonstrated the same natural screen presence that made his brother famous. Even with limited dialogue, audiences noticed him. What followed was a fascinating career journey. Unlike many former child actors, Kieran successfully transitioned into adult roles without losing his passion for acting. Directors praised his versatility. Critics praised his depth. Fans appreciated his authenticity. Year after year, he continued taking challenging roles and building an impressive body of work. Eventually, Kieran became one of the most respected actors of his generation. Many people who first knew him as Kevin's cousin were shocked to see how much he had evolved as a performer. Today, in 2026, Kieran stands as proof that success doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes it takes years of persistence, growth, and dedication. And while Fuller McCallister was only a small role, it remains an important chapter in a remarkable career. One of the most touching characters in Home Alone wasn't Kevin. It wasn't Harry. And it wasn't Marv. It was Old Man Marley. First, Marley appears frightening. The neighborhood children tell scary stories about him. Kevin believes the rumors, and audiences aren't quite sure what to think. But as the story unfolds, we discover something beautiful. Marley isn't dangerous at all. He's lonely. He's a man carrying regret and hoping for a second chance with his family. The role was played by Robert Blossom, an actor whose career stretched back decades before Home Alone. Born in 1924, Robert spent years building a reputation as a respected character actor. His face was familiar to audiences long before Home Alone arrived. Yet it was Marley who became one of his most beloved roles. The church scene between Kevin and Marley remains one of the film's emotional highlights. It's a quiet conversation that no explosions, no traps, no comedy. Just two people discussing family, forgiveness, and loneliness. Even today, many fans consider it the most meaningful moment in the entire movie. Sadly, Robert's Blossom passed away in 2011, but his performance continues touching audiences every Christmas season. His portrayal of Old Man Marley reminds us that Home Alone isn't just a comedy. It's also a story about family, connection, and second chances.